just like butterflies, we actually go through the same process. We go in isolation, become that cocoon, reflect on ourselves, and then come back with these beautiful wings, with these new personality.
And a lot of the times people reach out to me in this phase where they're like, but we are feeling more empty, we are feeling more lost while we are doing this. But the point is that you're losing your old identity, you're losing your old thought patterns, you're losing your old, the people that you've connected with, the decisions that you've made, and you feel that emptiness because a space is being made for the new to enter.
Who People who weren't my so close friends, even they started telling other people about my stuff. So now that was something that I thought, no, I don't think this is right, and I need something that helps me process my emotions better, helps me heal my traumas better, because this is not a very sustainable.
And why wasn't I happy if I was intellectually understanding, trying to understand everything and trying to make sense of everything? There was a missing link, right, in my life. And that was completed after I had the somatic experience, after I first experienced safety in my own body.
I told them this is how I feel and this is how I want to feel, and I was willing to put in the work. But I don't think that's something I got after like my initial self awareness and self acknowledgement that therapy gave me. It was nice, helpful for me to become aware of what I was doing through therapy, through mental therapy, and break out of the repeating toxic cycles that I was in.
When it comes to somatic practice, one is breath work, because I feel, uh, I love to say that our breath is the biggest psychedelic drug in this world. Because until and unless once you experience your power of your breath and the breath work practices, everything shifts.
Hi everyone, welcome to all new episode of Spirit Say. So today we're gonna talk about healing and trauma. And I know those words, when you think about traumas, you think about somebody who's in the army and has gone through so much of bad experiences, and we think only those people have trauma, but traumas are also associated with small incidents that happen in non like normal people's life. If somebody just shouts at you, even then your nervous system gets dysregulated, and for a moment you think, yes, I have processed all that because I don't feel any emotions related to it. But actually, you sometimes what happens is you push those emotions down, like deep down, and this still remains in your energetic aura. And sometimes it manifests itself in terms of physical ailment. And obviously we know that traumas affect our perception of reality anyway, our experience, our quality of life anyway. So today I'll invite Antriksha to talk about how traumas in normal human beings' life, like the small incidents that happen to us that we internalize, how do that affect us and how do we heal from them?
Yes, I agree with you when you say that when we hear the words healing and trauma, it feels very intense and heavy, and we are like, we are not traumatized, but we all are. We could be on different levels on the spectrum, but in some form or the other, we all have traumas that are dictating our life, and every decision that we are making today is because of whatever experiences we've had. So, people generally think that traumas are like the big traumas, as you've mentioned, being in war, having a divorce, losing somebody, having experience abuse, and all sorts of things. Those are called the big T traumas, right? But at the same time, when you are being bullied in school, or somebody calls you fat or ugly in school, or you have found it hard to make friends in school, or your
Mhm.
teacher put you down in some way, as a child, it sticks with you. And in no way can we monitor how intense an emotional reaction can be, and how deeply it can get stuck within us. A simple example that I love to give people is like, your mom being a working mom, right?
Hmm.
So she's going to a market, and you are alone, left alone, in the house, of course, under the with some other guardian. But for a child who's like in, let's say, third grade, it could be a traumatic experience, nobody's fault again, but the child could feel abandoned. The child could feel like he needs to people please his mother. He needs to grab her attention all the time. He needs to do something to receive that love and attention and care. And that, when the child becomes an adult, manifests in romantic relationships where we our perception of love is already set up while we were a child, and we feel like this is a give and take thing. We have to always make way for other people. We always have to people please. We always have to put ourselves behind. And that's how traumas play out into our life. And that's why we go deeper into inner child work and teenage work as well. Now, having said that, uh, once you come into an adult stage and you feel like, okay, you're not, something is stuck in your life, you're feeling just like lost and blah, and you don't know where to start your empowerment journey, but you want to do something about it. That's when we start our healing journey and our empowerment journeys, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first step that we the towards healing is bringing in that consciousness, which is very important, bringing in that self awareness, where we identify who we are as a person. We peel the layers of our personality, of our life events, everything that you've experienced up until this moment, everything you've been through, your lifestyle, the decisions you have made regarding your careers, the relationships that you've had, be it platonic or romantic, and all that sort of stuff. We start to detect all of that and identify that. That is what the self awareness phase is. And after that, we kind of see where what needs to heal and what might be restricting you from living your best life. And that's when we go to the shadow work, which we'll discuss today. Shadow work, shadows are basically the unconscious parts of us that are leading our life. So it's like this iceberg, right? So this is the sea level. The upper part is our conscious mind, which is we become conscious, like, okay, I'm getting a little triggered at this moment, I should do this, I should do that. You take therapy, you do all sorts of things consciously. But in actuality, your subconscious, the greater part, is beneath the surface level, which we cannot even detect. Like, as a normal human being, you won't be able to ever detect. But sometimes you're feeling jealousy, right? We become jealous of our own friends, let's say, and we're like, so why are you jealous? And you're like, I don't know. And then we go deeper into it, like, think of it for a while. Why do you think you have this uncomfortable feeling for your own friend? And then we go deeper, like, they did that, or they were laughing out loudly, or they were showing off something that made me feel uncomfortable. And then we go like, okay, what was it about that made you uncomfortable? They were just doing a normal thing, they were just happy in that state. And you're like, but I don't do that, I would never do that, it's show off. And that's a kind of a link to what you need to heal yourself. That's where we ask you that, okay, is there a part of you that wants to laugh out loud as well? Is there a part of you that wants to play, that wants to sing, that wants to dance freely as well? And that's where we identify the link, that we might have shunned that part of us in some form as a child, which is showing up today in the form of envy, in the form of jealousy. That's like a little example of how things work and how our traumas start to dictate our adult lives, right? And one thing I'll mention separately, it's like, something that I figured out and that I also teach people. When you are in this journey, there comes a phase where start to feel numb, you start to feel empty, right? And you're like, okay, I'm doing the work, I'm shifting my lifestyle, I'm taking the supplements, I'm drinking more water, I'm trying everything consciously to be a healthy human being. But there is something that is missing. And more I'm into my healing journey, I'm feeling more and more empty. And people generally start to lose themselves out in this phase. And a lot of the times people reach out to me in this phase where they're like, but we are feeling more empty, we are feeling more lost while we are doing this. But the point is that you're losing your old identity, you're losing your old thought patterns, you're losing your old the people that you've connected with, the decisions that you've made, and you feel that emptiness because a space is being made for the new to enter, right? So that space has to be honored. And I tried skipping it in my own life, where I was like, okay, what do I do, what do I have to do next to, like, a,
Mm-hmm.
a, a better lifestyle change needs to happen. But the thing is, our body looks for sustainable healing. Our body needs that resting period. That is what we call sacred pause in spiritual coaching. So that sacred pause where your body is trying to cope up, because at an intellectual level we are kind of figuring out the plan, we are figuring out what went wrong in our life, but our body needs to recover. Our body needs to process that trauma slowly and completely for us to have sustainable healing, long term healing, right? So our body walks, comes slowly, and our mind is at a faster pace, right? So that stage comes where you feel very empty, but that is just your body and mind trying to experience peace and healing for the first time and trying to accept that phase, right? And after that we fill in with other good things about who you want to be, what are your dreams, what are your passions, different affirmations, different practices, and then we fill in the good stuff after we've honored the sacred pause. So this is something like a little extra that I add
Mm-hmm.
on. But this is the gist of what happens in a coaching container in the healing process, where you bring in the self awareness and then you bring in the shadow work together. Oftentimes, like, it's easy to kind of go through small little things, but when you see that there is something deeper that might
Mm-hmm.
erupt, there might be something intense, an intense emotion, an intense experience. It's very important that we establish safety with the practitioner, because we can go down that rabbit hole and we can be in that unstable position to handle our own healing journey.
Yes, yes, I totally agree what you said just now, and especially about feeling that numb kind of emptiness. And I can tell you, I felt that especially during my first spiritual awakening. I feel like the first spiritual awakenings are the hardest when you are self-aware, and now everything's gone down and everything because your whole foundation is broken, right? It was weak, it
Mhm.
was so weak, so you have to break everything that was on top of it, on that weak foundation, to build it up stronger. So that first one was very intense. After that you kind of get a grasp of it. Okay, I know these are cycles, you go through them. But um, I am not sure if you can relate, but what I went through during my first spiritual awakening was I was really burnt out. All I wanted to do was get rest, sleep, because all my life what
Mhm.
I was doing was just going out, hustling, going to school, coming back home, doing, 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 doing. And at this point in time, my body was craving that rest and that hermit mode. I wanted to be in isolation. Um, I wanted to hang out with my friends, have fun, because I had this fear of missing out as well. But what my body was craving was rest, was isolation, to just be there with my thoughts and create who this new person or is going to be when I come out of this cocoon. So just like butterflies, we actually go through the same process. We go in isolation, become that cocoon, reflect on ourselves, and then come back this in this beautiful um with these beautiful wings, with these new personality. And that time when you are in that cocoon is very hard, is very lonely. But I'm sure if you ask for help, if you need help, a lot of people are willing to give you that. We have spiritual coaches, we have therapists that can help you, even your friends. But Diksha, I would like to add something about friends, where my healing process started. So when you're young, you obviously don't know, because we are not taught how to regulate our emotional system, our nervous system. So the only way for me to so-called heal myself was to rant. So that was something I used to do because I felt so overwhelmed. So I just used to get on the phone with my friends or anything and rant about all my problems. So there were two things that were happening. One, obviously, they were feeling very overwhelmed because they had their own problems, and now I was trauma dumping on them. And secondly, who people who weren't my so close friends, even they started telling other people about my stuff. So now that was something that I thought, no, I don't think this is right, and I need something that helps me process my emotions better, helps me heal my traumas better, because this is not a very sustainable, as you thought, as you said, we need something that's more sustainable, that's more long term. This is not a very sustainable thing to do. So then at that point of time I started doing my research, and then I came across all this spiritual tools and spiritual breath work that we can do to regulate our emotions instead of just trauma dumping. So yeah.
Yes, I get that. And coming to like the sleep thing that you mentioned, it was the exact question that I was about to ask you, right as you were speaking, because uh, when we start our healing journeys, our body craves a lot of sleep, and we need to give it that rest. We need to give the right nutrition, the right time for the body to actually process and heal that. And I've been through that as well. I think first or second years of college, I was sleeping a lot. My body was craving that because I was making space in my mind to process everything, and
Yeah.
my body was naturally craving the sleep.
But you know, when you're sleeping, even then you have this guilt that, oh, I'm not doing enough, I'm sleeping, and then there are these outside voices. How much you're gonna sleep? You are so lazy. Why don't you go out and do something? So it makes the whole process harder. Like, I know I have been sleeping, but it's for a reason. So just let me process, let me be on my own. So yeah, that was something a bit hard to navigate, because I was in a very emotionally volatile place. And if somebody is coming and just saying these things, it's really hard to not, just snap at them. So that was something, I'm not sure if you can relate to that, but yeah,
No,
that was
yes,
something I went through.
I can as well, because I remember I was still taking up different projects to
Yeah.
kind of make up for that guilt,
Yeah.
that when I was back in my room, I my body was craving sleep a lot. So I was making it up, trying to like make up for the guilt by taking up more projects while I was in my university.
Yeah.
But like having said that, let's dive into how our society puts so much of importance to our mind, which is okay. Our brain
Hmm.
does a lot for us. It even numbs out parts of our life where we have suffered something great. So
Hmm.
oftentimes, I don't know if you have this experience, but I have. Some of the times from my past, I have blurred memories of it, right? And I used to feel sad because the happy memories were also in a blur, because our brain tries to protect us, because there has been something heavy that has been going on, and it numbs that out completely for you to be saved, right? But your body stores it. Your body has all the emotions still inside of it, and that keeps on coming up in your life ahead until it is deeply processed.
Yeah.
So I want you to go ahead and kind of touch upon the mind, body, and spirit connection together, and how everything is connected.
So first of all, when you said, the blur thing, I would like to add something. So something I did, because I am a certified overthinker. So if the memories were blurred, what I used to do was make thousands of scenarios in my head, so that that blurred part can get, something, that blank space can get a reaction or a scene there. And if I didn't go ahead and do that, I would be so anxious. So my brain used to find new things to torture me as. But
That's how we go into
yeah,
victim mode. I've been victim.
exactly. So that's the thing, sometimes the brain controls us, but it's up the part of our body. So we need to like shut it down and control it, and tell, like, you are just a tool, and I'm going to use it for my betterment, not my doom. But yes, as you said, body and mind connection. So after so much conditioning, we forget that our body also has innate wisdom. It has the ability to tell us what's good for us and what's not good for us. But since the beginning, since we are born, we are told that this is how you live life. So you eat 3 times a day, every day. But our minds are so conditioned that what we don't realize is every action or everything in environment uh, gets a reaction from our body. So if you eat a particular food, your body tells you how it feels about it. Is it good? Even if you just think about, so if I think about eating fries and burger right now, I feel sick because I know that's not really nutritious for me right now. But before, I used to eat because that was something, fast foods for something fun, fast food was something everybody was eating. And then even if a particular person, you're hanging out with someone and after that you feel really drained, that's your sign to that's your body's way of telling you that you need to set boundaries. So every scenario we are put in, our body tells us what to do, but we are so conditioned by our mind that we don't even realize it. And I was also doing this for the longest time. I was so prone to like emotional eating. So my body was just telling me it's anxious because of the exam, and I used to calm myself down with eating and stuffing myself. So after my awakening, I started listening what my body actually needs. If it's anxious, I would ask it, why is this happening to me? Am I scared because of the exam? Am I not prepared? And then take the route which I think is the best for my to ground me, which are now my healthy habits. um so yeah, I think that a lot of people don't know how body and mind and your spirit are connected, because even people who go to the gym, they are very surprised when they get to know that your gut is connected to your skin health, which I actually thought was a very common perception, but it's not. So it's very rare for people to know that your physical ailments are also due to your emotional. Even if you have back pain or you have like neck pain, it's the stress that's stored there. So something I now do is, if I'm feeling really nervous, I'm at the office and it was a really stressful day. So when I come back, I do some shake-ups so that I don't store that trauma, even if it's just like dancing on good music or whatever, so that it just, I'm able to release that. And you actually feel better if you are aware of how your body feels every day. You will realize how much better you feel. I also got my sister onto it, and she also feels so much better now. So yeah, I think this is a topic a lot of people um, should be introduced to. And so, once I told my somebody in my family, I had all this list. If you have this emotional trauma, it manifests in this way. So yeah, it was triggering from there for them. On that day, and we had a big argument or big debate about it, but then eventually they realized it themselves and they were like, yes, it does happen in that way. So
Yes, I agree. Everything that we have, like we have dark circles, we have gastrointestinal problems, we have so much going on in our body, and everything is because of different emotions at different points of our life being stored. And not just like I would say, not just like at an emotional level, but oftentimes the beliefs that we have, the subconscious beliefs that we have, because of those things also, we have the physical ailments going on. So everything is like deeply interconnected. And yes, we forget like our body actually has the first experience of life, right? We feel like we are overthinking, we are having anxiety, we are having fear or happiness or whatever form of things that we are feeling. But in reality, our
yeah.
body is having the first hand experience. Our body is then sending the signals, the all the jitters, everything that we are feeling up towards our mind. So like the butterflies in our tummy, blood rushing to our cheeks, the happy things, and then the sad things where our body is shrinking, we are getting goosebumps, we are getting fearful, our body is shrinking and expanding, and everything is then being sent to the mind. And mind acts like a simple computer, a translator, making it, converting it into words for
Yeah.
us humans to understand, right? And oftentimes we kind of uh, feel like mental health issues are all here, but then we fail to realize that we've been ignoring our body's signal for so long, and it is getting overloaded. The mind is failing to kind of process everything, because we've been pushing our body sign for so long, right? And then our mind is getting overloaded, so we are getting mental health issues. Our body is getting overloaded, so we start to store different traumas in different parts of our body. And for us women, the biggest emotion, and I have that as well, the biggest emotion that we suppress is anger, right? And then it's shame, because of how the world has been. And our energy center is actually the womb space. For men, it's our third eye. So it's also like when we meditate, it's often said that just focus on your third eye area. But oftentimes, if you are a woman, you got to focus on your womb space, because that is our intellectual center, that is our intuitive center. And if you have problem of like doing meditation, try
Hmm.
out focusing on your womb space. That is where
Yeah.
all of our traumas are stored. Most of our traumas are stored, not all, let's say, but most of the traumas
Hmm.
are stored in our womb space. And for men, most of the traumas are, again, as you mentioned, are stored in the lower back, in the spine, on shoulders. Like the spine is the center where things are stored, because they have like the pressure of world of providing and all that, being the man of the house, and all of that gets stored in the lower back, in the spinal region. So this is to say that you have to be we have to start developing and understanding when our body is trying to communicate what is happening and what is required, where should our attention go. And whenever you're having any intuitive thoughts, whenever you're feeling something, try feeling it into your body, and only then will we be able to uh, like put it
Hmm.
out of our system, right? We, as you mentioned, that you love to shake that energy out of your system. I do that as well. So shaking that energy out of your system, this is like a simple example. But then when we go to somatic healing, somatic experience, and for me, I think I when I first heard the term coach, and I was like, yeah, it fits. I don't like labels, but the coach was fitting to who I was. And I felt like I'd be a great mindset coach, because I've been like self coaching, self educating myself. But then why wasn't I happy if I was intellectually understanding, trying to understand everything and trying to make sense of everything?
Hmm.
There was a missing link, right, in my life. And that was completed after I
Hmm.
had the somatic experience, after I first experienced
Hmm.
safety in my own body. That's where the two came together, and that's what, you know
Yeah.
brought in the blissful experience. But that's what somatic experience does, somatic coaching
No,
does,
that's so true.
finally.
I would like to add something to the feminine part, the womb part. Yes, our body tells us everything, but for women, it's very obvious in the sense how your menstrual cycle is. And I did not realize it for the longest time, that your menstrual cycle is a really a sign of how your body is taking in all the nutrients. Is it getting the nourishment it wants? Is it getting the care it wants? Is your body intuitive? I used to have the worst periods ever, and I didn't realize that it was all connected to my me rejecting my feminine. We'll come back to it later in detail. But yes, to everyone out there, your body's wisdom, your menstrual cycle, your womb's wisdom is really important. Listen to it, see, track your cycle. It really helps in the long run. Yeah. And
Yes.
I'm sorry, I forgot where you left off. I got carried away.
I left
Yes,
off at
somatic
the
experience.
somatic
So yes,
experience.
I took some somatic healing classes, or like sessions, because I did go to therapy when I was in university. So it was like university provided therapy. I didn't feel as seen, or not, I wouldn't say seen, but as understood as as I would like to be, because I was willing to put in the
Hmm.
work.
Hmm.
And I told them this is how I feel and this is how I want to feel, and I was willing to put in the work. But I don't think that's something I got after like my initial self awareness and self acknowledgement that therapy gave me. It was nice. And you know how we live in cycles. So our life, we actually live in cycles. So when we heal ourselves, we start a new cycle. So it was really helpful for me to become aware of what I was doing through therapy, through mental therapy, and break out of the repeating cycles, repeating toxic cycles that I was in. But
Mhm.
after a point in time, I was not able to go further. As you said, that was because you were not feeling safe in your body, because you were ignoring the other aspect, the body and mind, the body and spirit aspect of healing. So that's when I tried
Mhm.
somatic healing. So for me, I get very vivid dreams as well. So sometimes my subconscious heals itself through dreams. I mean, that is a thing, but I have not looked deeper into it. But I have been told that your subconscious, when it needs to heal some traumas that you are not doing when you are awake, it does when you are in that sleep state of sleep. So some I did
Mhm.
in that way, and some I worked with a coach to heal two or three things that I wasn't able to process on my own, or I wasn't able to accept on my own, and they were still affecting me. So that was really helpful for me to not only realize but to release it in just like in a span of few minutes or hours, which is amazing. So there has not been a somatic healing session where I haven't cried, because it's such a nice experience that you finally letting go. But yeah, I would, if you can, you should try somatic healing.
Me also, when I started getting trained, before that we had to go
Hmm.
through our own experience of somatic healing, right?
Mhm.
So when
Mhm.
I started going to those sessions where other people were guiding me through the somatic practices, it was
Mhm.
uncomfortable. I was like, they were like guiding me through the meditation, through the breath work
Yeah.
practice, and in my mind I'm like, okay, why do we have to hold this breath for so long, and I need to like exhale, exhale.
Mhm.
No, 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 what next, what next? So it took me a couple of sessions to finally get into my
Mhm.
body and be into that experience. And yeah, from then on, it's been a beautiful journey. I agree with you when you said like a talk therapy can only take us so far, and because it works with the conscious mind, and because uh, it is great for the beginning healing stages. So if
Mhm.
you've never done the work yourself, that is when you need to go to the talk therapy to and work with the therapist who makes sense of what has happened with you, why you are the way you are, why you had the experience, and what all shaped you to the person that you are today, and everything that the conscious mind, like consciously, you make sense of your entire journey, of your entire personality. But there's a reason why traditional therapy is popular yet is failing, because it after a certain point of time you do need somatic experience to come into play, because after a point, if you keep on going to the talk therapy only, it strengthens the trauma, because you are
Mhm.
revisiting the stories, you're revisiting the traumas. And some people have gone through really intense experiences, really intense pain, and it is futile to kind of revisit that pain, revisit that situation again and again and again, because it reaffirms it. Everything becomes permanent for you, and you start to live with that identity forever. So a lot of people who go to the traditional therapy for longer periods of time without bringing in the somatic coaching experience, they feel no kind of benefit, they feel no uh, betterment in their life. Instead, they fall deeper into their patterns, they fall deeper into the victim mindset, because it is reaffirming, it's restoring the pain permanently in our mind, right? And that
Mhm.
is where the somatic practitioners need to come in and get that trauma out of your system. You do not have to revisit the trauma again and again and again to actually go further into your healing journey. You can do that without revisiting, and for that you need somatic practices.
Somatic.
Yep.
Yeah, and also as I said, somatic exercises, they work great. So even if towards the end of the day you don't want to meditate, there are a couple of exercises you can do just lying down on your bed to just release the stress of the day so that it's not permanently stored, and it's great.
Mhm. So I think we are living in a time where all of us, or I would say all of us, are living with a dysregulated nervous system because of the fast paced life that we have today, because of the hustle culture, the go, go, go mentality, the go, go, go life that we have today. And I want to bring in some of the nervous system aspects in today's conversation as well, because you understand that our nervous system is dysregulated, right? Even when you are out with your friends, you want to check in on your mobile phone. Even if you are going out to nature, your mind is somewhere else, overthinking. You have thoughts running around. So you're not allowing your nervous system to come into a calm state. So our nervous system like spikes whenever there is an exam coming up, there is an event coming up, something that needs to be done. There is a spike. Our sympathetic nervous system is activated, and you need a good amount of stress. But then, after the task is done, our nervous system should be coming down at a relaxed stage, right? Which is the parasympathetic nervous system. But we don't allow that to happen, right? We've never trained ourselves for that. The world moving at such a pace is not allowing us that. And so, our nervous system is at an agitated state forever, right? And it becomes hard to actually experience calm, actually experience satisfaction and fulfillment and calmness in our life. And that's why we need to activate and do practices, the somatic practices. I'd love for Manya to discuss some that she follows for us to bring our nervous system into a calm state, into a balanced state, where you're training your mind to. And like a straight line of the nervous system is like when we are dead, so we do not need a nervous system to be calm always. You do need a good amount of stress, but you do need the spike to go down as well, and then get recharged and get relaxed, and then come again, up again when needed, right? So Manya, let's go ahead and discuss some of the practices.
Yeah. Before I discuss what practice I use, I also would like to visit an example from my past. So, as I said, I used to overthink a lot. I'm a certified overthinker. So once, what I was stuck on was I was at my friend's place and I had to buy some donuts for my sister. So I was sleeping over at my friend's place. And the next day when we were, so she lives outside, a little outside Dehradun. So when I was coming back, I forgot the box there. And for 3 days, Antiksha, I could just think about how I could have done things differently. How could I have changed it, changed my action so I could have got the box for my sister. So I was just stuck on that and I was not living in the present. So I wasted 3 days of my life just thinking about how I could have changed the past. So you can't change the past, you can't change the future. All you can do is live in the present. So that's the first thought or first fact that you have to be comfortable about, that what you have is right now and that's all you can change and that's all you can experience. And then the practices come in play. So for me, the first thing that really absolutely helped me was burning out energy. So I figured out that I had a lot of energy, this stuck energy in me. So anger, as you said, like girls don't process anger. So I what helped me was running. So obviously, movement 30 minutes a day is a very important thing for to regulate the nervous system. But for me, it was like running at a very high pace so that I could process that
Mhm,
energy that anger had. Unprocessed anger had in
mhm,
me. And then the second was creative energy. So I had all these ideas that were going on in my head that were making these noises that were making me overthink. So what I did was just write them down on a piece of paper. Just writing, journaling, not thinking about what's happening, not caring about grammar, my writing, whatever, just putting them out on a paper. And if need be, burn it, but if need be, just putting it there and maybe later making it up in a story or just sharing it in a podcast as your past experience. So there was a lot of experience, a lot of unused ideas that I had and that I had to put in paper. And obviously other kind of creative energies like dancing. For me it was also acting. So that grounded me, that helped me process all these unprocessed trauma that I had in me. And lastly, I would like to add, like, obviously there are more. I'm sure you're going to share it, but for me, it was also music, because a lot of people have this perception, like, why are you listening to sad music when you're sad? Why don't you just listen to happy music, so that you can just change your mood and be happy? But the thing is, I don't want to change my mood. My motive is to process the trauma and release that emotion. Changing mood doesn't mean that you're okay. Changing mood just just means that your sadness is now stored in your body. So listening to music that helped me cry, that helped me release that trauma, uh, is was something that really helped me with my dysregulated nervous system. And yes, I would also like to add that crying doesn't mean that you are weak. Because I cry a lot. Even if somebody shouts at me, I cry because I don't want to, take that in and internalize. So everybody has always seen this as being weak. So I was talking to a friend of mine from school the other day. Then he told me that yes, they didn't cry in like 10 years or something. So I was like, I don't know why boys think that's a flex, but they do. Then I said that's not healthy. I used to cry all the time. Who cares? And even in school. So he said nobody thought that you were. That's why nobody thought that you were strong. So I was like, I don't want anybody to think I am strong. I know I am. And it's not about like going to war with somebody. If they think I am strong, only then I'm strong. And plus, even if you're going to war, obviously your enemy is going to underestimate you, thinking that you're not strong, but actually you are. Just a secret clue. But yes, crying doesn't mean you're weak. It just means that you're processing your trauma. And that's a mindset shift we need to have to go on with our healing journey.
Absolutely. I think crying actually fastens my
Hmm.
process, because the sooner I'm crying, the sooner I'm over,
Yeah.
like, even if it's like a silly thing. But like, if I'm crying, like, for a good 5-10 minutes, it could be a very silly thing, but then just I'm over it. And if I'm not, I'm storing it in,
Yeah.
and it's getting built up, right? I have very basic things to share. I think two big things that are coming to my mind
Mhm.
when it comes to somatic practice. One is breath work, because I feel, uh, I love to say that our breath is the biggest
Mhm.
psychedelic drug in this world. Because until and unless once you experience your power of your breath and the breath work practices, everything shifts. So go on and find out whatever there are so many hundreds of different breathwork practices. And once you get in touch with your breath, so much of oxygen is flowing, so much of things are unraveling. You make so much of space within your body. You're calming down your nervous system, and it's really helpful in your healing journey. A daily practice does wonders. And the second thing, again, which I had already mentioned, I think in the first video that we shot, was about gratitude. And I said I started the consistent practice in 2018, I think. But I remember, like, even before that, when I've had dark times, and I'm like, I had a breakdown and I'm watching the ceiling trying to sleep. After some time, I would be like, I don't know, after 5 minutes or 5 hours, who knows. But like, after some time, it would be like, I'm still alive, I'm still breathing, I still have my brain, my
Yeah.
heart, and nobody has snatched that part of me. So, and plus, like, this universe is like, we have oceans, we have mysteries of the universe, we have so much going on, and
Mhm.
everything, it there has to be reasons for things happening and all of that. So in those moments, I never realized, I didn't know the word gratitude
Mhm.
back then. But then, gratitude practice, but I was into that process of acknowledging what was it that I had in that moment of, like, where I was like, this is finished, this is done. Even in that moment, I had, and that made me like calm down, and that made me sleep
Mhm.
eventually.
Mhm.
So what gratitude practice actually does is, because when we are at our lowest, when we are struggling, we have a narrow perception of life, a narrow perception of us. But in actuality, the life is big, and actually you are safe, right? There is a life is big, and there are things going on around you. So what gratitude forces you to do is, it pushes you out of your narrow perspective, right? It
Mhm.
pushes you to acknowledge what are the things that are actually going right, and then it trains your parasympathetic nervous system to be activated and to feel a little sense of calm. So constant practice, constant training, uh, does wonders for our nervous system. And then there are like so many other practices, like journaling, affirmations, being in nature, warm baths,
Mhm.
uh, so many things that we
Yeah.
can do on our own to activate our parasympathetic nervous system.
I love baths. I don't know. I just have this affinity towards water. And If you go to near any ocean or any water bodies, I have this, my heart lights up and I just feel my soul is clearing. And same as with when you have like a yagya or a havan at home, or that fire is burning, it's like cleansing your soul. You can feel it. It's amazing. Sometimes I just feel like can't ocean, like, take me in, and I don't know, I'm just very fascinated by oceans. Anyway,
You're a
um
Cancer baby, no?
yeah, yeah. I have a lot of cancer placements in my chart too.
Okay.
um
Okay, so let's shift the gears into the spiritual aspect, because we've talked a lot about nervous system, about the logical
mhm.
aspects of a healing journey. How has your spiritual inclination helped you in your healing journey? Let's touch upon that.
Okay. So, first, spirituality made me realize that I am not the only person in the equation. There are a lot of things in the equation that contribute to my healing. So, I would point it out as me, my practices, the actions that I'm doing, and the environment. So, the people I'm hanging out with, things, places I'm in, even your home environment. So, if you grew up in an environment where, everything was very you had to be on your tiptoes and you have to adjust to everyone's emotions, obviously that anxiousness, everything comes naturally in your behavior and your personality. So that's how spirituality helped me become aware of things. Even when I tell people that I'm spiritual, like most of the time their answer is, I don't believe in supernatural things. Like spirituality is kind of out of the world juju. But it's not. It's as simple as, seeking the why, simply about being aware of things that are happening to your body, to your mind, or around you, and just healing your body, mind, and spirit, so that your perception of the world becomes better and you come closer to being your higher self, and your higher self being a person who is full of love and does everything out of love and self-awareness. And so spirituality has helped me a lot with all these things, with bringing out my authentic self, with bringing out that this healing or service that I am doing is not for me, is not something that I want in return. It's something for me to give to the world, to the community. So spirituality has helped me in those. When all, obviously I can't discredit that spirituality has given me meditation as well. So that's one big thing that I have incorporated in my routine to help me with my healing. And apart from practices, um, I would say I'm more objectively aware of my actions and others' actions. So like in a normal scenario, if I were hurt, if somebody hurt me, I would get closed off. I would turn off my heart, turn off my emotions, because now I'm stone cold. Now I don't feel emotion. Now I'm emotionally unavailable. So I'm like this cool person hanging out in the world. And spirituality helped me realize that that's not at all true. If you are numb, if you don't feel emotion, doesn't mean that you are this a higher being. Actually, what a higher being is somebody who's out who acts out of love, even when they are hurt, even when somebody does bad to them, even then they keep their heart open and act out of love. So I think because hurt people obviously hurt people, and this one thing, that I don't hurt people, I'm not a heartbreaker, I'm a heart healer, helped me so much in my healing journey as well, and in my acceptance of my emotions and my loving nature. So yes. What about you? How did you incorporate your spiritual principles in your healing journey?
Yeah. Firstly, I'll say the thing that you mentioned about shutting down.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's one of the responses that we have towards trauma. That
Mm-hmm.
is like that fits might fit into freeze and fawn. You
Mm-hmm.
might have heard about
Yeah.
fight or flight. I think those fight is like my main, but for you it could have been like freeze
Mm-hmm.
and fawn in those moments. But back. when we started having those responses, they were there to save us because
Yeah.
certain situations might have happened in the past. But today it also restrict us from living our best life,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And we got to heal those responses. We got to go to the roots of those and heal those deeply, and that
Hmm.
can be done. For me, I think um, my spiritual connection has been my biggest anchor. Even before I knew like different modalities, I was doing things unconsciously. For example, you mentioned dance, getting the energy out of your system. I never knew that
Hmm.
it was helping me back when I was dancing constantly. It was helping me to kind of get the excess energy out of my system. So I was doing it unconsciously, but it was helping me out in some way. But I think my biggest anchor again has been my spiritual connection that I started developing very in flow. In like my darkest moments, things happened, and I started questioning. I started having conversations um, with God, and I started feeling like there has to be reasons for things happening. And yeah, so I think that has been from there on it has grown.
Hmm.
And no matter how much I say I've learned things which are helpful. They've helped me process a lot of things, but I feel like my spiritual inclination, my spiritual connection would definitely be at the top of my list when it comes to my healing journey,
Hmm.
because it has given me the greatest strength, the greatest healing. And I have come from a place of hoping that things would be right, hoping that I would not be sad, hoping that I would not be in a dejected, depressed state, to knowing that God has my back, the universe has my back, and if it can happen for me, it can happen for other people
Hmm.
as well, and all sorts of things. So yeah, I've always put my spiritual connection as the biggest thing in my own healing journey.
Yeah, it's so surprising and so nice to see how universe sends you messages. So when you're healed, you can recognize these little messages from the universe. As you said that you talk to God, you start talking to universe, and when you heal, you realize that it does talk back to you in signs and similar. I think that really fascinated me. Like every day, I see that, and I'm as surprised as I was when I first started to do that. Like, how are you doing this?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
I even remember like first I would be like in the very very beginning stage, right?
Mhm.
So I would be like angry and sad and whatever. Why me, what
Mm.
have I done to deserve this? And then
Mhm.
I'll be just like, of course there's no reply back that is coming, but then I'd be lying, and it would be like, okay, you wanted mental strength, you wanted to be a strong person, right? You wanted to
Mhm.
share love, so what else did you expect to have on your
Yeah.
plate, and all sorts of things. And I'm replying back to myself, so
Yeah.
it was also funny.
Yeah, it's like a random thought popping in your head, and that's for me. That's actually like, where did this come from? Obviously, that's like somebody talking to you. I can totally relate how that conversation goes, and you one second you're questioning, and the other second you got the answer on your own. So yes, and also, I would like to just highlight something, as you said, why me. So some of the things that one should avoid during healing journey is, as you said, the victim mindset, as you already explained. And also, sometimes people um, help other, like empaths, they like helping other people, they like listening to their problems, they like taking care of others. But please don't overdo yourself. If you feel like you don't have any more to pour, your cup is empty, just step back and ask them politely that maybe today you won't be able to help them, and try to fill in your cup first. There is a possibility that they will get triggered, and I have experienced that before. But if you ask them politely, they will understand eventually. And the second, don't use these therapy session as a way of escaping from your own healing, or your own problems, because a lot of people indulge in others' problems, try to solve those so that they can just avoid diving into their shadow self. Also, Diksha, something I've noticed, and it was very surprising to me, that people don't want to accept their shadow self. People don't avoid accepting their flaws, which is also a shadow self, which is very important in healing. In like self-awareness is good, but then it comes acceptance that yes, I have these good qualities, but I also have these bad qualities. So you please don't go down in a spiral, just thinking that yeah, these are my bad qualities, so I'm a bad person. No, you're not. There is duality. Everything exists on a spectrum, so there are extremes, and then there is a middle point as well. So keep that in mind when you are doing your shadow work and your healing journey, going on your healing journey.
This was reminding me of the other aspect of when people
Mm-hmm.
are trying to superficially accept their shadows, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
I am like this because of what has happened to me,
Mm-hmm.
and because like other people have done me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
This is who I have become, and now the rest of the world has to deal with it,
Mm.
right? So I have seen a lot of people who get addicted to that phase where they like, the therapy was trying to bring in the self awareness of how things have happened for us,
Mm-hmm.
for them, and they can begin their healing processes. But then instead of going into their healing processes, they kind of stop at that phase
Mm-hmm.
where they're like,
Mm.
this is just who I am, right? So that can go, yeah, to the wrong side as well.
Direction, yeah.
Yeah, and the people pleasing thing, I can relate to that because for me, I have blurred the lines. I still count myself as a recovering people pleaser, not a
Mm-hmm.
recovered
Mm-hmm.
people pleaser, because at times, like, and the biggest marker could be like, if I'm helping out people, I'm doing it out of my will. I naturally want to help people. But why is it that I'm turning resentful by helping people? Because that is my natural desire to do that. And that brought me the realization. And also, the another realization was that people pleasing and narcissism is kind of on a similar track, where narcissism is
That's true.
taking on a more toxic, clever, cunning tactics to mold the perception of other people, and people pleasing is trying different aspects, different techniques to mold the perception of other people towards themselves. Right. So when I heard that, that was the first, like, an eye-opening moment for me, that I am trying to in some way mold the perception of other people towards me. I'm trying to kind of influence their perception of me. That is what people pleasing is in reality. And that made me realize, like, for example, we had this podcast, so I've already committed to you that we'll be recording today, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have a WhatsApp message from my cousin, and I have a call from my friend to who wants to meet. And there's like a couple of DMs that I've gotten for some help. And as a people pleaser, I would like ditch whatever my prioritized commitment was, and I would go and do and would accept everything else that was going. I would reply to the WhatsApp, I'd reply to the DMs, and I'd also be willing to meet with the friend. But that would be like, they could be in a very they could have been in a very, I would say, normal stage, where they just wanted to meet, where they just wanted to vent, and it could have been postponed, right? So now, what I started practicing, like, in the beginning stage, and what I do today as well, I take a moment and figure out if there is like something more important that I have already committed to. What are my tasks of priorities for the day? The DMs can wait, my cousin can wait, and the friend can be met another week as well. You just reply back to them, tell them that, you'd appreciate to meet them because next week, because you're having a busy week. This time you're having a busy day. And simple things with straightforward communication, with a little open communication, where you explain people nicely of what the exact situation is, can make life easier. And you can easily, for me, I can easily help out people when I try to create the balance and not self sabotage and self sacrifice.
You know, this scenario that you explained, exactly what happened to me yesterday. So I had a very busy day, as you know. I had a lot of chores planned, and I had to do the podcast as well, and a lot of things. But somebody texted me to go out. So obviously, I said, as a recovering people pleaser, it takes strength and my sister's support to say no. To say no. So I explained, no, I cannot, because I, first of all, it's very late in the night and I have a lot of things to do, and I have a schedule that I need to keep up with, and I have to wake up early to do more chores and things, and I have to be in the right mindset for that. But the thing is, then they spent 3 hours trying to convince me. So my people pleasing personality kind of gave in, and obviously that triggers this anxious thing in me that I am trying to set boundaries so firmly, so politely, but the person on the other side is just not understanding where I'm coming from. Yeah, but I'm not going to say I didn't have fun. I did, and I'm grateful for everyone to make that a nice time. But as somebody who has a lot of difficulty in setting boundaries, I get very anxious when I say no and after somebody pushes me a little more. So yeah.
So if you have committed, I think sometimes I do that as well. Healing is not
Hmm.
a linear process. So
Hmm.
two steps forward, one steps
But
backward,
yeah.
one step backward. So I try to be in that, like if you've committed to, if you've then decided that you'll go out for dinner, right? So our mind is like anxious because you want to work the next day as
Hmm.
well. But what I try to do if I have like made plans in the evening with somebody and I have a busy next day, I try to bring my focus to what I have now committed
Hmm.
to.
Hmm.
So, like, because if you're going to overthink, you will not be able to
Ruin.
enjoy the
Yeah.
dinner as well, right? So one thing, a little like awareness that I bring in, that if I've now made plans, I would fully enjoy and I would think of the work the next day.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a nice advice actually. But sometimes a little flexibility is good. Hmm.
Okay, so any, like, we can move towards our final thoughts. It's been a good podcast so far.
Yeah, I think I just would like to recap for things that people should keep in mind. The actions you're taking, the self awareness that you have, and your environment, energy, and listen to your body, like how your body feels. These are the most important things that you should do while in your healing journey. Keep in mind there are three parts of you: spirit, body, and mind, and then go from there.
Yes, I think uh, my final thoughts, I'm
Mm-hmm.
one thing that is coming to me is that it's not about living horizontally,
Hmm.
milestone milestone milestone,
Hmm.
but rather than living vertically and deeply. And for that you need to like go within, go
Hmm.
deeper down your emotions to actually raise your vibration. You have to go
Hmm.
lower down
Hmm.
to your deepest lowest emotions.
Yeah.
And because present moment is all that there is, the past is where the depression is, the future is where the anxiety is, all that we have is the present moment. And you have to get your past processed so that your present and your future doesn't get dictated, don't get dictated by it.
Hmm.
And your decisions, your perception, your life don't have a filter of your past wounds
Yeah.
and trauma.
True.
And you got this.
And last thing, I just had a thought in mind that I would like to add. Healing knows no age. So don't be like, oh, I am 40, I can't heal, I can't change. अब क्या change होगा? ऐसा नहीं है. Try and heal, try and change, evolve. Don't sit in that mindset that because I'm of a certain age, of a certain gender, whatever, I can't heal. That's not true. So, yes, happy healing, I think. Happy shadow working, trauma working, work through your traumas. And we are always open in our DMs. So if you need any help, any more guidance, Antriksha takes coaching and you can message her.
And I'll also add my one of the healing videos.
Hmm.
I just remembered I uploaded some time back, but it's a nice beginner's guide, so I'll link that below as well.
Okay, then.
Have a good day. Bye
Bye,
bye.
everyone.